Well, FedEx just brought me my two-part clear epoxy. There's curing agent part B, part A. This is 1 gallon each one, so I got 2 gallons for about 100 bucks. And it came from good old Tammy Duffield, Pomona, California, whoever that is. At any rate, let's get over here and see how the table is looking before we mix up any epoxy. And sure enough, it's been about half an hour, and you can see the Gorilla Glue is bubbling up here. And I don't want to have to sand all that down, so I'm going to take the liberty of just poking it down in the crack again and get rid of some of those air bubbles. This will also make the Gorilla Glue a little stronger in setting up. You don't really need all that puffy, bubbly bulk. I want a little bulk, but not too much. Here's another crack with some Gorilla Glue that needs to be worked in. And you can see I've been sanding on the top while the Gorilla Glue is setting. And, you know, if a little bit of sawdust goes in the crack, that's all well and good. It incorporates into the Gorilla Glue or the two-part epoxy quite well, despite what some of the other tabletop makers will tell you, that you need to buy pigment to go in your clear epoxy if you don't want it to show clear on the top. I just work in a little sawdust and find that looks fine. Oh, here's some bubbling here. Gorilla Glue likes to come on up, and if you forget to go back and work it and it gets hard on you, then you've got to either cut it out or sand it down. It's not a disaster, but to get the maximum benefit from the Gorilla Glue, I do recommend working it in like this, and it makes it stronger as well. It's not really too big of a deal. You're going to be around for a better part of an hour, probably working on the sanding and the legs and leveling the top and whatnot. So I haven't decided if I'm going to put clear on the top of this all the way across, but I might. So there's one table, here's another, doesn't have any legs yet, and you can see that's got some substantial cracks that we're going to have to fill. But once we get those filled, it'll be all right. And of course, this one's ready to have the epoxy put on it because these cracks are filled. You can see I let one of the legs come through just for effect. And here's 2 more over here that are in various stages of assembly. This one has some pretty big legs on it, which you might or might not like. When I set the legs, usually I just drill it in an angle and put in one of these 16-penny finishing nails and go around and put about 8 of them into the top, make sure they don't go through, and then I come back and put the Gorilla Glue around it and work it up under there and add some caulk over that just to keep it in place. The caulk takes several days to dry and you can still work it, but the Gorilla Glue, of course, is dry within about 2 or 3 hours, and there isn't much you can do after that. This joint over here is also good and solid with the Gorilla Glue and the caulk around it. The whole thing is very ugly from the bottom. Hopefully none of your customers who buy these things will flip them over and look at them, but I think in the furniture making business, the underside is fair game. So good luck.